Okay, so today we're going to be still in section 4.4. However, we're going to concentrate now on writing equations in vertex form. So in the form y equals a, x minus h squared plus k. Now, if you recall when we were doing equations of lines, you need a dependent and independent variable in every equation. And when we did equations of lines, we had to figure out what the m value or the slope was and what the b value with the y-intercept was. So now with writing equations in vertex form, we need to figure out what the a value is. So that gives us the shape, either it opens upwards or downwards. It's a stretch or a compression. We need to know what the h and the k value are, which are the vertex. So once we've got the a, the h, and the k, we sub it into our equation, and then we've got it. So let's look at some examples. Once again, I'm going to upload this into the content section so that you can have a look at it, okay? So here, you're asked to write an equation for each parabola. We're going to do it in vertex form. You're given the vertex. So if you're given the vertex, you got to think, okay, what are you given? Are you given the a value, the h value, the k value? And you're given the h and the k. So this is my h value, and this is my k value. Now I know the direction of opening. I know it opens upward. That gives me an indication of what a is. If this opens upward, you got to think, is your a value positive or is your a value negative? And if it opens upward, it's positive. Here I'm told there's no vertical stretch. I'm not told anything about a compression, so I can safely assume that there's also no vertical compression. Okay? So if there's no stretch and there's no compression, I know the a value equals 1. Remember, a cannot equal 0, otherwise this is not quadratic. So a equals 1, I know h equals 3, and I know k equals -1. Now what do I do with this? I put it into my equation in vertex form. Okay, so remember, you need your dependent variable. A is 1. You don't have to write the 1 because the 1 is understood in front of the bracket. X minus h, which is 3, squared plus my k value plus -1, which is like -1, and now I am finished, and that's it. Okay, so we're going from easiest to most difficult. So remember, in order for this to be quadratic, you have to have that exponent 2 there. If you don't write the exponent 2, it is wrong, it is not quadratic, okay? Let's try the next one. Again, you're given the vertex. Once again, you're given the h value and you're given the k value. Okay, I know it opens downward this time. So if it opens downward, you should be thinking, what sign is a? If it opens downward, a is negative. And then you're told you have a vertical stretch of factor 3. So I know my a value opens downward, it's negative. I know the stretch is 3. Remember, this is h, and this is k. Remember, you can also think of it alphabetical. H is first, right? -2, my k value is 0. I sub it once again into here. I need my dependent variable, my independent variable, so y equals -3 x minus, and I'm subtracting a negative value, right? Squared. I don't write +0, please don't write that. What happens when you subtract a negative? You write it as addition. You need to simplify it. If you write it like this is not simplified, okay? It's not good enough. And now we are done. Do not write +0, please. Okay, it's understood. Okay, now let's look at this one. Sometimes you're going to be given this question in words like I have here, and sometimes you're going to be given it as a diagram. So I am just showing you visually what this looks like. So you've got your vertex, and I kind of just graphed it here. Not graphed, I plotted it. So you're given the vertex, and you're told a point that your parabola passes through. Okay, So you don't have to graph this to do the answer, but just so you know, just some people work better with a diagram, so that's why I'm just kind of showing it to you. So it looks something like this, right? Then of course we have the symmetrical point on the other side, something like that. So in your textbook, sometimes you're going to be given it as a diagram, the question, and sometimes not. So let's think about how we're going to do this. Once again, you got the vertex, right? So you got your H, you got your K. So I know H is -5. I know K is +3. I need to figure out what A is. Here, A was given to me, right? Here, A was given to me. Now here, is A given to me? Given the vertex and what it passes through. Am I given the A value? No. That's what I need to figure out. Okay? You should be thinking to yourself, why is this being given? Who cares that it passes through -715? What's the point of being given this information? The point is this is a, just think about when we did y equals mx plus b. This is a x value. This is a y value. This is given to you to help you algebraically find A. And that's the point of this being given to you, or here in a diagram. So I know x is -7. I know y is 15. Now I need to algebraically find A by subbing everything into vertex form. Okay? So I know y is 15. A is, I don't know. That's what we're looking for. X is -7. I'm subtracting 3. Then I'm going to square it. And then I'm going to H. Sorry, I did the wrong one. Let's try that again. Y is 15. A is what we're looking for. X is -7, and we're going to subtract -5, and then we square it plus the K value. So when I subtract a negative, so now we're just going to simplify this for A. So -7 subtract -5, remember that's the same as adding, which is -2. Continue simplifying through BEDMAS. -2 squared is 4. We times that by A, so that's 4A plus 3. Okay, always put the coefficient in front of the variable. So when I take -2, I square it, I get 4. So make sure you put it in front of the variable. You're less likely to make a mistake. Now isolate for A, so you want only A on this side. So I'm going to take this, move it to the other side. Make sure you remember to change the sign. I'm just going to move it up here. I know 15 take away 3 is 12. Okay, equals 4A, get A by itself. Divide both sides by 4. I know my A value is 3. Okay, now we need to answer the question. The question's asking what's the equation. So now we have the A value, we have the H value, we have the K value. Now we're going to sub it all in. So y equals 3x. I'm subtracting a negative. I know when I subtract a negative, it's the same as adding. Do not forget the exponent too, otherwise it is not quadratic. And then I add my K value, and then I am finished. Okay, and this is about as hard as it's going to get in terms of writing equations. These first 3 questions are more of your knowledge and understanding questions. Question 2 is more of an application question. Okay, so let's read this one. We're doing the same idea. Okay, so we're finding, so let's read it first. So a baseball is batted at a height of 1 meter above the ground and reaches a maximum height of 3 meters at a horizontal distance of 19 meters. And you're asked to determine an equation to model the path of the baseball. Okay? So this one here doesn't specifically tell you the vertex like question 1 did. Okay? You got to figure it out. Sometimes a question like this, if you can kind of visualize what's going on, it makes it a little bit easier. So I'm just going to kind of sketch it a little bit, okay? And this horizontal distance, just to clarify that, that's how far the ball is from the player. Okay, so so let me just kind of sketch it and I'll explain it. So the height I'm going to put here, and I'm not going to include anything negative. I'm just doing a quick sketch so you can kind of visually see it. Anyway, so there's the height. This is the distance, or the horizontal distance that the ball is from the player. Okay, so just a quick sketch. Okay, so a baseball is batted at a height 1 meter above the ground. So what you have to think about is when when the batter hits the ball, what's the horizontal distance the batter is from the ball? At that point, the batter and the ball are at the horizontal distance is 0, right? Because the ball is right at the batter. So this is 1 meter. So the horizontal distance the ball is from the batter is 0, and it's he or she hits the ball at 1 meter above the ground. Now the path of a ball is usually in the shape of a parabola. At some point it hit, gravity, goes up, hits a maximum, and then gravity forces it to come back down again. Okay? So now it tells me the maximum height. So the maximum height is right here. It's at 3 meters. How far is it from the player? It's right here at 19 meters. And what is this? This is the maximum, which is the vertex. Okay, so here's my vertex. Which number is going to go first? Well, it's going to be the x value, 19, and then the y value. So what are you given here? You're given the h value. Here you're given the k value. We need to once again find a. So I know h is 19, I know k is 3. How am I going to find a? Question 2 is very similar to C. Okay? You're given this point here. You're given a point that sort of like that passes through. Write this as an ordered pair. This is the y value. What's the x value? It's 0. There's my x. There's my y. Sub it in. Okay? And then and then you're going to the same, we're doing it in vertex form. One is my y value, don't know a. X is 0. I'm subtracting h. Do I have my calculator here? Can we pause this?
Yes.
So now we're going to just start to simplify it. I know 0 minus 19 is 19 squared plus 3. Grab our calculator. What's 19 squared? 361. So negative 19 squared, positive 361. Again, make sure you write that in front of the variables. So I'm going to write it as 361a plus 3. Okay, again, I want a by itself, so I'm going to move that over. Okay, so I get negative 2 equals 361a, and then I want a by itself, so divide by 361, and I get a fraction, and that's okay. Sometimes people see a number like this, and they automatically think they did it wrong. Okay, no, it's right. Don't change it to a decimal. If you change this to a decimal, you're going to end up with some decimal that you're going to have to round. So leave it as a fraction. It's much more accurate. So there's my a value. It makes sense. This should open downward. The flight path of a ball is usually downward, right? So it makes sense that it's negative. There's my a value. There's my h value. There's my k value. And now I write my equation. And then I am done. Okay? There we go, finished. And that's the end of the lesson.